What is up, guys, and welcome back to the podcast, guys. We're on episode 4, the Mindset Matter podcast. Guys, we got a good one here. Hope y'all been enjoying this so far. I've been enjoying making these. I know I'm kind of behind a few days, but basketball season is here. So definitely been busy with that and getting things situated. We actually got a scrimmage this morning. I'm up a little earlier doing this, but got a scrimmage here in a few hours, so getting ready to prepare for that. But this actually came to me like the last couple of days, the past 2 days, I would say, just with this topic, just being around young people for so long. So before we jump into it, y'all make sure y'all hit that subscribe button, send down those recommendations for different topics you would like me to discuss. Like I said, if you're on other streaming platforms, make sure y'all leave your boy a 5-star, stuff like that, man. But hey, we've been talking about trusting the process, how God will deliver on your behalf. And now we here with the gift. Now we're gifted, right? Now we realize our gift that we bring to this world. Now we see the talent that we have, the skills that we possess, right? And I was just thinking, just being around basketball for so long, as a youth and now as an adult, seeing different point of views. I got to see it from a player point of view. I got to see it from refereeing that point of view, and seeing it from a coach's point of view, and of course being a parent, seeing it from that parent point of view. So I got to see basketball in so many different point of views, and it just makes your mind kind of wonder and think, just because, like, man, the different point of views when it comes to just looking at people and seeing their gifts, seeing their talents that they possess, seeing the skills. Because I can go back to when I was young. I was gifted athletically. I ain't gonna lie, I was very skinny, but I was gifted athletically, and I never really thought about it because I know I eventually got better at basketball, but that was just a skill that I developed. I feel like there's something different when it comes to something that you're gifted at versus something that you develop that skill. And don't get me wrong, so because sometimes like what we're gifted at gives us that advantage to develop a certain skill in a certain area. And I just remember just being gifted at an early age with athleticism, and not saying that can be something that somebody develops. So just think, a gift that you have might be something that someone has to develop later, and they will have the opportunity to develop later. And I know that's what it was for me when I played basketball. And I seen some people, it seemed like they had a natural ability, it seemed like they had natural skills, and I had to develop mine. So showing that anything is possible, it's very possible to do those things. But just going back, I just remember being gifted in that, and not really having everything that I needed for basketball, and like thinking like, man, because there'll be sometimes you thinking like, dang, can I really do this? And I just remember playing throughout the season. I was horrible at layups. I was horrible at a lot of things, but I was good at defense. I was really good at defense because of my athleticism. I could block shots. I could grab rebound. I could jump out the gym at a very young age. But I just remember just one game that really just had made my mind click. It made my mind click. I scored 8 points one game. And I really realized, like, dang, I can really do this. Mind you, I grew from like 5'6". I had to be like 5'6" in like 7th grade. I grew to like 5'11", almost 6 foot by 8th grade. And then, I stand tall at 6'3" right now. So, but I was just thinking, man, just looking at a bunch of kids that show just so much talent super early. They show so much talent. They have certain gifts so early, and man, I can just imagine. And I start seeing, because even for me, I'm like, man, some of these kids have bad habits, a lot of bad habits. And that's something I can recognize as an adult. Of course, when I was younger, I just thought, oh, this normal. long as I'm better than everybody, I ain't gotta, me working hard don't really matter. I can do the bare minimum and still be better than the rest. And that's why I see a lot of young guys that's what they're doing until they're faced with the challenge of everybody's better now. Of course, being in high school, being at probably your own local school, you're probably the best one, but then you don't think that, man, this is a big world. This is a big basketball world at that. Like the whole world is getting better at basketball. And most times these kids, I just see like the habits they possess, and it's like, man, those habits gonna take you out faster than your skills would, than any other thing would. Your skills can only take you so far. Your skills will only take you so far in this world. Like, I ain't trying to make this about basketball, because sometimes we gifted in other areas, but we don't even use our gift enough to show the world. And usually it's our gift that really showcases us and get us out there for people to see, and people can tell, like, hey, this is a natural thing you're doing. You might not discover that gift early, you might discover it later. Like me, started speaking and doing all these different things, and that's something I discovered later, because I used to be a shy kid, not want to talk and do all that. And as I got older, I realized, man, I'm gifted to reach people, gifted to talk to people. I know how to care for people. Like those gifts wasn't developed. They were developed for me, of course, because like when you're discovering something, now you can develop it. But I just see the bad habits, and as I got older, I can see certain habits that I still have. And that made me think about the youth, because they have certain habits that, man, if they start making good and better habits now, they can get so much further later, and it's only a hand selected few that you will see that are honestly going to be doing the right thing, going to be building those good habits, but they don't possess the natural talent that some of these other kids have. They don't have the certain skills that all the other kids have. And I started thinking about that. Is our give us a huge advantage. It gives us a huge advantage, not even just for ourselves, but to share with others. Even though basketball was a skill I developed later, the teaching part, I realized how gifted I was at just teaching things to people, which helped me a lot. That gift helped me a lot in what I do now with coaching. And because, most time, if you're a player, being a good player don't equal good coaching at all. Sometimes we get that confused. Oh, that person was a good player, they got to be a good coach. That means they know the game, but not necessarily. Some people are just naturally talented, and some people don't really learn and dissect the game. Like when I first started coaching, like I went back to stuff that I already knew, but then I had to learn a whole lot more. I had to go use some resources with other coaches, seeing what other people do. And that's what helped me be a better coach. Not just me thinking, I know this, I know that, let me create this, let me create that. Nah, you don't always have to create. Just find somebody, some philosophies that look like they would work best with you, best with the group that you have. And that's what I did. Like I realized my gift I had to teach others, and it made me teaching others basketball so easy, because now I can see what they need to work on, see what they need to fix and certain things. And that just came with also just learning more. Like as long as you live, you're going to learn. We know the saying, you live and you learn. Like that's a true statement, because as long as you living, you're going to learn. And if you're not learning, are you really living? If you just got to think of those things. Like if I'm not learning, am I really living life to my fullest potential? Am I really living this life to the fullest potential? Like as long as I'm living, I got to be learning, and that learning always don't have to be in bad situations. What can I learn right now to help me later? What can I learn right now to help my family later? What can I learn right now to help this person later? Like God allow us to go through certain things so we can learn through them. He's not trying to give us a loss. God is not trying to, God is not trying to make you lose in this life. He's trying to make you understand that, hey, this certain situation is going to change your mind to help you further this situation, the next situation you're going to face. And that's what you have to see it as. Like, okay, I'm not going through this. God sees my best interest at heart. He's not trying to lead me down the wrong way. Everything God touches is good. So I know if I'm going through this path, I got to trust and believe that he's with me. And I said that before. You got to trust and have faith that God is with you. Despite the decision I make, God, is this opportunity for me? God, is it? I got to trust that no matter the choice that I make, no matter the roads that I take, I got to trust and know that God is with me, especially if I know I'm making the right choices, especially if I know I have good deeds, especially knowing I'm doing good. The scriptures said, don't grow weary in well doing. If I know I'm doing well, I got to trust God now. Now, if I know I'm doing bad, it's like, that was like, okay, now, like, I know I'm making bad decisions. I can still have that faith, but something got to change within me, because God looking at, like, you got to change something. Some people get a wake up call, and some people go through things just for God, for them to get stronger, work on patience. God's developing something in them. Some people just get that slap in the face type of thing. Some people just need that wake up call. But for others, if you're doing well, like, sometimes God is just developing something in you to prepare you for what's next. So never grow weary, never worry, especially if you're doing well and God is your number one priority. And that's what I had to learn, especially being gifted at a young age and seeing my gift, and now being able to see the gifts in others. It made me think, like, man, if you're doing good, you got the right people on your side. You got the right people that can push you push you past your limits. Now, all that matters is, what can you do for yourself? I tell my son, I got a young son, and I've been training him since he was young. He's still young, but he's 13. I've been training him, man, for the past 3 or 4 years, and I can see the skills he's developed. He's getting better, but at the end of the day, he still has bad habits. And he still haven't figured out that not only do I need to do what dad's making me do, I need to do something for myself, because I'm going to be out there by myself one day, and I need to develop a work ethic. And I think some kids don't realize that they really don't do nothing until you make them do it. And that's where the bad habits come in. Like, where's your own work ethic that you have that will help you develop and get better? I just seen literally a former NBA player playing overseas right now. He was in his apartment or hotel, wherever it was. I think it was his apartment overseas. He in there doing defensive slides. He's in there still working, because even though he's so far away from home, he developed a work ethic. So he got good habits. And it might be one of those things people say, oh, he's not in the NBA no more, he's not good. There's still a lot of good talent out here. Now that just comes with the knowledge of the game, building connections, networking, and all. Like, it goes deeper. And we're just talking about habits. So just imagine that. Like, everything gets deeper. And the mental battle that a lot of athletes face, that you might face, even not being an athlete, everybody faces a lot of mental battles, and it takes away from productivity. And we don't think that way, because we just think, oh, we're going through this, but now we're not productive. When you're going through stuff and you taking that mental toll, it hurts your productivity. You're not going to perform the best at work. You're not going to perform the best on the court. You're not going to perform the best on the field, because that mental toll that's taken away from one of my favorite point guards, John Wall. I was wondering why he was on top of the world one day, and then the world was on top of him. And you can see it in his play, and injuries start happening, certain things start happening. And come to find out, I believe he lost his mother. So it's like things like that can take a toll on your productivity because of what's going on, honestly, in your life. Certain things that's going on in your life affects your mind. And of course, if it affects your mind, it affects everything. That's why I'm so passionate about being mentally tough, mentally fit, and just having a strong mindset, because it's tough out here. Even the strongest get weak. So just having the right sources and really having God as your source, and God providing you with the right resources, man, you can really re-strengthen your mind, because you're gonna get weak. It can get weak. Nobody's invincible. No man is an island. So you got to know, man, I can get weak. I just got to make sure I got the right things and right people that are around me. But I did have here just talking about gifted, but you have bad habits. So we got natural abilities. Is it enough? Being gifted means you have something special, maybe creativity, intelligence, athletic skill, leadership, or insight. But bad habits like procrastination, laziness, you got inconsistency, pride, distractions can block that gift from reaching its full potential. So I just thinking on that, man, I can think even now being inconsistent and some of the things I've been doing. And when I'm consistent, I see the results. And I tell people that all the time, like, consistency brings results. If you're not consistent, you're gonna think this is not working. You got to give yourself a chance, man. I've been trying to reach a weight goal for a couple of months now, but it's like, and the thing is, I know I'm inconsistent. Knowing is better than learning, because if you know, you can really do something about it. If you know, you can do something about it today. And that's the thing. When you know, knowing is better than learning, because you know better, to do better. You can do something about it right now. When you're learning something, it's going to take a couple of days because you're trying to figure it out. When you know something, you don't have to figure it out, because you already know what to do. You know what to do right now, and you got to just do it. You got to just do it. And that's what I be faced with. It's like, dang, I beat myself up more because I know what I'm supposed to do and I'm just not doing it. At that point, being insubordinate. I'm not doing what I know to do. And that's something I can do and start and change today. That's the difference. Knowing better than learning. If you know, that means you can start and do it right now. You can make that change right now. You just got to be consistent. You just got to do it day by day, not day count it. Wait another day, wait 2 more days. Because you take a day off, that can lead up to 2 more days. That can lead up to 3 more days, 4 more days. Like, just being consistent, man. That gets me every time. But like I said, it's a mindset. Because now I'm thinking, oh, I'm too busy. I'm too tired. I let a lot of hurdles get in the way. I let a lot of certain things get in the way instead of already strengthening my mind to know, let me do this. That's why I'm here now doing this podcast, because I'm like, dang, I can't stop now. I can't stop now. Maybe I don't see the results now, but 90 days from now I could. 120 days from now you could. But sometimes we wait, and if it ain't working in 5 days, we think it's not working at all. But I know for a fact, I see people with their weight loss journey, and people lose their weight. They lose that weight, whether it's 100 pounds or, and then they give you the timestamp. It's like, dang, it took a year or so for them to get to this point. Of course, throughout that year, you see the progress, but it takes a year for people to really recognize the results. So if you feel like you're not where you're at, if you feel like you're not in the position you want to be right now, or you feel like the results are not there, the results are showing, but I'm telling you, people going to recognize the results in 6 months to a year from now. So give it time. You got to give it time. It takes time. But we got here, habits determine outcome. Success rarely depends on talent alone. It depends on your systems and habits. Bad habits create patterns of missed opportunities, broken focus, and wasted potential. So again, success rarely depends on talent alone. It depends on your systems and habits. Bad habits create patterns of missed opportunities, broken focus, and wasted potential. Good habits help your gift grow stronger over time. Talent opens the door, but discipline keeps you in the room. And that's what we got to realize. Like, a lot of people are talented. I see a lot of people are talented, man, but they have bad habits. And you wonder why isn't this person in this doing this? Why ain't this person doing? They probably got bad habits. A lot of times our talent is definitely going to overshadow the bad habit, because it's what people just see. They just see the finished product. Most time people see the finished product. But if you're with that person day by day, every step of the way, you'll be like, yeah, man, you kind of have some bad habits. So where you are, it kind of makes sense. But just imagine you see that person every once in a while. You see that person only during a performance. You're going to think, bro, yeah, man, you deserve this, you deserve that. But we don't see the bad habits they producing. We don't see the bad habits that they're doing every day. So it's a call to growth. So you've been blessed with something powerful, but if you don't correct your habits, you'll never see what the gift could become. So just think about that. You've been blessed with something powerful, but if you don't correct your habits, you'll never see what the gift could become. So we got to think about that, man. Just imagine. And I always talk about LeBron because we see a lot of players. Like I said, I'm in the basketball world, so I see a lot of players, a lot of kids that got great potential early, but some of them don't really live up to the potential later. And we got a lot of different distractions and stuff that can also stop these kids, because that attention and, like I said, these bad habits. But I always think of LeBron. One thing I can say, this was a kid that had all that attention at an early age, and he really lived up to the expectations. Like he lived up to the expectations. So we compare him to one of the greats, the great Michael Jordan. So just think about that. Like I will forever use LeBron as an example, especially when it comes to these young kids, because you don't know what you're gonna be until you're in that moment. You never know what you're gonna be until you're close to the end. Like we start seeing LeBron, and of course people are like, oh, we see what he's doing. He's good. He's this. He's that. But now when it got close to the end, now it's like, okay, he need to be in that debate for one of the greatest. So you never know what you're gonna be until the end. You never know. So as long as you keep doing this, as long as you keep going, like other people are gonna dictate how great you are just by how you've been doing, and when you're close to the end of that mark, man. So, but this was just something short and sweet I wanted to share, man, because it's a huge topic, especially if you work with youth, and sometimes it's like I could go a little longer just thinking of certain kids' situations, home life, and all that stuff. Like sometimes they probably have good intentions and have good habits, but their surroundings stop them as well. I've had kids, like they got good potential, they work all this, that, but they can't make decisions for themselves right now or certain things because they're what their parents are able to do for them. So man, that's another topic within itself. Just thinking like some kids have it all, but they don't have it all. I know for me, I was surrounded. I was surrounded, and I was the only one that had the basketball knowledge and all that. And when I became an adult, I had cousins that were really I had cousins that were hooper in this basketball world, man. I had a cousin, eventually I didn't know, but of course my parents and their parents, they grew up together mostly, and they knew each other. And I ended up playing for an AAU team based off of just my cousin. My family was like, hey, your son play basketball? He needs to be playing AAU and stuff. But like I had cousins that played high level D1 that played overseas and now a coach. I had another cousin played college basketball, owned his own team, an agent, and now he's in it. Now he's coaching college. Had other cousins on my dad's side that played at like TCU, I think Texas A&M. And these are these are cousins I never knew, but my parents knew these people. They knew these people, but I didn't. And that just comes with the knowledge, just having knowledge and knowing where to start, where to take this for that person. And, that's what I'm developing and doing for my kids now is like, I know where I need to go. I got the knowledge and resources to put them in the right position. But sometimes, like I had the good work ethic. I had the drive, the determination at a very young age, but sometimes you still can't get where you want to get without the knowledge and the right people. So, and like I said, that's another topic. Just having the knowledge of something and knowing somebody that knows something about it. So, but other than that, that's all I have. Y'all make sure y'all hit that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube. If you're checking out the podcast, let me know what you think about this episode. But that's all I have. Y'all be blessed, be the best, and be you. I'm out.